My name is JERI. I lead Awaken Voices team of a dozen volunteer literary reviewers, some interns, our associate editor, and our programming coordinator, and we make up the team that is behind Awaken Voices. I have loved being the lead of Awaken Voices for the past several issues now, and this issue is very special to me in looking and learning about the ways in which the body speaks after trauma, and certainly in the ways in which creative practices can continue that healing and give significance, meaning, creativity, and expression to what our bodies hold.
Hi, my name is GILLIAN and I am a reader for Awakened Voices. I feel truly lucky to have been a part of this issue and see the ways in which these visual artists and writers use amazing language and setting and metaphor to represent the ways in which we communicate with our bodies.
Hi, my name is Megan Otto. I am an associate editor with Awakened Voices, and as always, I am so grateful to be a part of this magazine. This issue especially, I am very excited to explore all of the ways in which our bodies tell stories, tell the truth, and speak with us.
Hi, my name is Jackie, and I'm the programming coordinator at Awakenings. Working on this issue of Awakened Voices has been so special to me. Something that I really love about this magazine is that we get a chance to really slow down and listen to survivors' stories. I'm really happy to introduce a poem in our issue called Butterfly by Emily Boshkoff, where she beautifully illustrates with metaphor the ways in which we can disconnect from our bodies, but also hopefully slowly find ourselves again.
Our next piece is by Y. Hope Osborn. It is called Kaleidoscope. It is the first piece in their collection of kaleidoscope paintings. It is a truly beautiful full spectrum of color that represents the ways in which we nurture, communicate, and express our inner child after dealing with childhood trauma.
Hello, I'm Hope Osborn. As a teenager, while living on 37.5 country acres teeming with life, I became enthralled with my discoveries of the bounty of wild things, such as blackberries, dainty sweet violets, and a single wild potato vine that waved a white flag of flower. I didn't pull the potato vine up or tell anyone else about it. I wanted it to be left to grow and to keep my discoveries in the fields and forests my special secret. My family wasn't sensitive to the wild things, and the Botanica were another world away from sexual, physical, and psychological abuse. Since early in life, I kept many things from my biological family. I felt my loves and accomplishments would turn to an ugly end. Though I struggle every day with the physical and mental toll of the abuse, I turn to flora and art for the grace of God toward my well-being. Every 6 months, I pick up my palette of colors and create the never-ending floral landscape of my patio garden, and my window is a garden of orchids and succulents. I am never truly without the flowers that feed my soul. I have also loved kaleidoscopes all my life. I love the beauty of the rainbow of colors of which my childhood homes were so devoid. I lived in the shades of gray life and brown home. Take any scene, no matter how base or devoid of interest. For instance, during the pandemic, my photography was limited to scenes from my home. Next, imagine a big, pure white orchid flower to add intrigue and enrich the scene with a creamy white contrast. Twist the colors and contrast, and they blossom into the art of my kaleidoscope captures. With these kaleidoscopes, I am free to move and imagine in a way I couldn't during a traumatic childhood. I didn't know how to play then, but I learned to play now, creating endless possibilities rivaling the most valuable kaleidoscopes. Then I have what all trauma survivors have, the base made beautiful.
I'm honored to introduce LAURIE KUNTZ, returning to Awakened Voices with her poem After Being Abused. With a rich sense of time and place, there is a stillness in this piece that rests in contradiction. Peace and upheaval, quiet and noise, all that is to come and all that is right now. This poem invites us into the ever-fleeting space between and lets us look around just for a moment.
After being abused, I heard the sirens in the distance coming closer. Somehow I knew who they were keening for. Before the call, the knock on the door, the wail closing in, I captured the bird song, the color of the sky, the buzz of midday flies, the neighbor's cat scratching on the screen door, the air rife with motion. My bruised body lit before me, and somehow I knew nothing would ever feel the same.
My name is Kelly, and I'm a reviewer for Awakened Voices. What I find gratifying is bearing witness to survivors and knowing that simply by choosing to share their work with us, they're taking a step forward in their healing process.
This next visual artist is MAITHILI Rajput, who uses sculpture to represent the liberation of women fighting with rage and passion that they cannot usually say or express in day-to-day life. The transition of her pieces from broken to rising phoenix are truly remarkable, from their texture to their facial expressions to the overall body language. Truly beautiful.
I'm 23 years old girl, or let's just say a woman, who is apparently short-tempered. That's what I've heard. We grow up to be a woman who hides her feelings. We grow up to be a woman who silences herself. We grow up to be that pretentious showpiece who is supposed to please everyone. It's justified and totally accepted when men show rage, but it's irrational when a woman does. For men, fighting for a cause shows passion and commitment. But for a woman, it's a sign of being bitter and resentful. I don't really raise my voice because I feel humans are pretty good at hearing, not listening though. So, my art is a way of expressing all those emotions and experiences which are not acceptable in the society. You know, I believe if you need a hero, you gotta be the one.
I now have the pleasure of introducing an excerpt from Embracing the Erotic After Sexual Trauma, an essay by Dana Sayre. With keen analysis of their own experience, they explore sexual violence and asexuality, sharing perspective on how others' expectations of sexuality, as well as sometimes their own internalized expectations of sexuality, can cause harm. Yet the body is steadfast and honest, and Sayre makes an insightful, empathetic case for listening to what one's own body has to say.
When I was 11 years old, girls in my grade started getting crushes on boys, and I didn't understand why, and it made me an outsider. When I was 12 years old, my mother told me I was too fat for anyone to ever love me. When I was in high school, I was constantly bullied for never dating anyone, so I made up crushes so my classmates would leave me alone. Then a bunch of boys in school thought it would be funny to write a letter describing in detail sexual acts they said I wanted to perform with a teacher. It wasn't true, but I was afraid saying anything about it or advocating for disciplinary action would only make the bullying worse. When I was 18 years old, I was emotionally and sexually abused in my first romantic relationship. Any repeated injury makes the next statistically more likely. I believe that I was gray asexual and then I was sexually abused, in the same way that I was kinky and then I was abused. I don't think either aspect of my sexuality was caused by said abuse, but both, and my lack of knowledge that asexuality was a viable option, combined with growing up in a shame-based Christian culture, made me vulnerable to sexual coercion. I don't know whether working through my trauma will change how I engage with any of my partners, whether now or in the future. But I want to be able to feel open to engaging with my erotic power, whether or not it's in a sexual context. So I am starting small by exploring my relationship to myself and finding safe ways to engage with eroticism, whether it is wearing fabric that feels good on my skin, dancing to a song I love, or really enjoying the taste, textures, and smells of a favorite meal. I am okay if I never engage in partnered sex again, but I'm leaving the door open and adopting a never say never attitude. I know it will take time, but I'm trying to enjoy the journey of building a relationship with this body and seeing where it takes us.
This next piece is The Rope and the Hole by KUNTZ. As soon as I read this piece, I loved it and insisted we had to find a place for it in this issue in particular. The speaker weaves both global and very personal moments of tension and of release throughout this poem that also visually looks stunning on the page. Thank you, Caitlin, for sharing this with us.
The Rope and the Hole is Evan Rachel Wood and all the others saying the names of those who hurt them and exactly what they did. And it's that it happened. It's listening and it's listening. Some interviewer asking FKA Twigs why she didn't leave. Asking, what were you wearing? Why didn't you say anything? What did you do? Asking, how come you're so afraid? Asking, why are you doing that with your voice? The doctor takes one look at my long legs when I use the word run and says, it happens in hyperathletic perfectionistic females. He doesn't hear the rest of the sentence, running for the bus. He doesn't understand I've spent the last year on the couch. They stick a camera down my throat. One doctor, two interns, their faces so close to mine. Do I want to look at the screen? The inside of my throat looks like a punctured jellyfish. I am counting my breaths. No, thank you. Later, a different doctor, a non-male doctor, tells me I have a deviated septum. That's why it hurt so much, although of course it does. It's a camera in your throat. I run up and down the stairs of the hospital, stop when it feels like a hand is clenching my throat. The camera again. This time, only one doctor. She is so sorry for how much it hurts. I count my breaths. Again, the screen. This time, I look and I see it. The vocal cords close when they are supposed to open, and open when they are supposed to close. It's called paradoxical vocal fold motion. They say it can happen in survivors of abuse. So much time spent counting our breaths, making our faces blank, humming. I am out here studying stones, trying to learn to be less alive, using all of my will to keep very still, still even on the inside. You learn not to speak, to stay alive, and eventually the body does it for you. I have a picture of myself at 4, covered in Band-Aids. a panacea against the chicken pox. I did it myself on the bathroom floor. The first time I remember knowing that I could make myself feel better. In the picture, one shoulder higher than the other, holding my opposite wrist, leaning onto the same leg, head slightly to one side. I don't have the Ma Bell Phone Company t-shirt anymore or the side ponytail. The Band-Aid on the left side of my mouth replaced by a scar. But otherwise, that's how I'm standing when the PT says my pelvis is crooked. My shoulder muscles are weak.
Hi, my name is Sweet. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm a literary reader here at Awakenings. And this is Little Kitty, and an honorary reader here at Awakenings. One of the things that I absolutely love is being able to use my copy editing and editorial skills in a very unique space for survivors, by survivors. What I really loved about this piece was that we got a lot of unique pieces, and especially a lot of disability pieces, and I really loved being able to use sort of my crip finesse on those pieces. So I really just want to say, hey, I see you out there, and so to all my crip survivors, just send a little love, and there we go.
Hi, my name is MADELEINE, LEBOVIC, and my piece Life Jackets is in The Body Speaks. Rather than read a portion of the piece or show the accompanying artwork, what I actually wanted to do is ask a question of the viewers and listeners here. And the reason for that is I found asking questions to be a particularly powerful means of reorienting my body to community and time post-trauma. So I would invite you to consider a role that you have. Maybe it's your job or as a friend or a family member. And I'd love you to consider, how are you creating or cultivating a sense of safety in your manner within that role? Thanks for engaging.
Thank you, writers and artists. Congratulations. Thank you to my entire team for all of your hard work and support in building this community together. You can find Awakened Voices Issue 13, The Body Speaks, free to view or download on awakeningsart.org. Please also give us a follow at Awakenings Art on any social media of your choosing.